Akmans here, Supply Chain Dynamics, Chapter 9, Quality Cascade. Sysdea Gameplay 10, shorter hiring delays of pooling of staff. So the inflow of orders caused problems that cascade get down the supply chain, becoming ever greater. Suppose we could have responded quicker to that inflow of orders. Wouldn't that have helped? Or what would be the effect of that? Well, let's first say that it's not so simple. You can't just take new staff off the shelf. You would have to train them. They would have to be cross-trained also, so do more things. In that case, you can what they call pool. So you take call center technicians or field install technicians that are trained for one thing and for another, and if they speak in the one thing, that they leave the other and come and work for you. But let's suppose that you could. Let's see what that would do. And we can again do an easy scenario. In the base case, provisioning staff takes 16 weeks to hire, field install 26. Suppose that we would take half both of these periods, and what would that do to the model? Well, we would not have more staff, but we actually have a faster decline up here, which makes an effect, and we do not have much staff here, so the effect in provisioning really is that we have fewer staff, so that should be cheaper. The same for the effect in field install. So it's going to be interesting to see if this has any good effect at all on provisioning rework, and interestingly it has, because we can hire staff sooner. That is quite hopeful. If you would look at the total FTE, then you actually see that the net effect of hiring them and firing them staff faster is precisely that. It costs less. We can play a bit around more with this. Suppose that we once again halve this number, so we can hire or we can switch staff within a quarter of the time. What would happen then? Then we see that we actually so fast that at least the biggest second wave of rework we can deal with, not the first one but the second. And if you look at provisioning and field install, you do see that again the effect is especially great on the downscaling. Please note that because we can downscale so quickly, the staffing is really thin at the moment that the ramp up starts. So we certainly don't have any buffer staff left when the sales ramp up really starts. So the smoothed FTE are slightly smaller, but look at those complaints. Complaints are much lower, in fact they are negligible. And why? Well, because the rework levels are dealt with so very effectively. So even though we have fewer staff over a certain lifetime, but because we have them pooled, we have them fast enough to do rework, both in provisioning and to some extent also in field install. And that really decreases the number of people that have a reason to complain. There is again only a modest impact on the call center, because the call center also gets as many calls from the install base, and that's the same, and from regular orders, and that's the same. But certainly the calls from rework are a lot lower, and so the overall impact is there, but there still is this period where the call center is overwhelmed. The main reason why we have fewer complaints is because we have far fewer of them coming in. By the way, nice to see, even the FTE in complaint handling now no longer are a bottleneck, and we actually don't need the full 30 of them. So if we could get this going, this fast hiring or this pooling, it would definitely be a very cost-effective measure. In the real world, it would mean training people for two things where you're only paying them for one. So again, a bit of a heresy in telecom world.